A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
Mit der House of Justice. Hm? Alter, ist das groß.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Ja, mach auf.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately. I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Ah, das macht sie automatisch, okay.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Komm ich ja auch her.
No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
Ja, dass hier lang keiner mehr hergefahren ist, ist wohl offensichtlich. Oh, ich habe kurz gedacht, da steht ein Mensch. Ich kenne das Spiel doch.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it.
Okay. Du dachtest, dass du nicht zurückkehren würdest? Jetzt bist du wieder
But
da.
now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Jetzt hatte ich eine Frage über meine Familie. Oh, jetzt war ich nicht schnell genug. JRM 100 1187. Kann man nicht mehr fahren. Dafür, dass ich die Helligkeit hochgeschraubt habe, ist sie ziemlich düster. Passt schon.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Was ein Schloss. Spielen wir Hello Neighbor? Dann würdest du es erklären.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Okay. Hätte ich noch mehr drauf geachtet als vorher. Ergibt es sogar noch Sinn.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11. The power had been turned off the night we left.
Ja, wundert mich nicht, dass nach all den Jahren kein Strom läuft. Kann ich mich selber bücken? Nee. Ah, ich kann ranzoomen. Was sind das? Korken? I. Haben wir. Wir gucken, was es ist. Egal. Die Gucklöcher. Was ein schönes Waschbecken. Schwimmbecken. Das habe ich zum Beispiel vollkommen ignoriert dann da in jedem Run.
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
Ja gut, Erinnerungen. Ne? Jetzt nur die Frage, ob es gute Erinnerungen sind oder schlechte
The table
Erinnerungen.
was still a wreck from the night we left.
Die Tisch war noch immer gedeckt wie in der Nacht, als wir gegangen waren.
It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Was? Wer ist gekillt?
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
Okay. Oh, mein Rücken. Ja, so alt, mittelalterlich kann das gar nicht sein. Wer knuspert hier an meinem Häuschen?
Nothing in the house looked abnormal.
Nichts
There
im
was just
Häuschen
too much
ungewöhnlich.
of
Es
it.
war einfach
Like a smile, too
irgendwie
many
zu viel,
teeth.
ja. Dazu kommen wir gleich, weil das wäre ein bisschen doof. Ich habe einen Auftrag zu erledigen. Alle Gucklöcher durchgucken.
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
Mhm. Sagst du noch was? Ich brauche so ein paar Sekunden. Das ist eine ziemlich große Bücherei, würde ich sagen. Ja, Böscher, wir haben es verstanden. Okay, anscheinend nicht. Alter,
After Milton disappeared,
geht da noch merkwürdiger die
Mom
Treppen hoch.
sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Danke, dass ich fertig lesen durfte. YouTube dafür ihn. Zurück, okay. Wow, manchmal ist es echt krass doof, eine Lernbehinderung zu haben.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
Barbara?
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
Nein, da wollen wir noch nicht hin. Wir wollen alle Gucklöcher, die wir finden können. Alter, sind das Geräusche.
The last time I was in Edith Senior's room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
Wow, sie malte damals ein Porträt. Da steht aber nur Calvin. Aber es sind doch 2 Jungs.
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother.
Mein Opa teilte
Calvin.
sich 7 Jahre lang ein Zimmer mit Calvin. Ach so! Jetzt verstehe ich's. Lol. Gregory.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Nee, ich glaube nicht, dass das so normal ist. Warte mal, ist das ein Silikon zu? Why? Ich weiß gar nicht, war ich hier? Ja, ich glaube schon. Auch ein bisschen weird, oder? Molly.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
Oh, sie ist auch schon tot. Aber es sind alle anscheinend tot. Kann das sein? Darauf habe ich nie geachtet. Bei keinem Gameplay-Run. Nein.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
So, dann würde ich sagen, machen wir unseren Weg, wa? Aber gibt's hier noch irgendwo ein Guckloch? Keine Ahnung, ich werde
I
es
spent a lot
rausfinden.
of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room.
Oft in Onkel
I think my
Walters
mom
Zimmer
sometimes
gespielt.
regretted not sealing it up.
Man bereut es manchmal, dass ich es... Ja, dankeschön.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
Übelst das große, schöne Zimmer. Aber warum ist hier ein Zugwaggon? Und hier sind Fische und eine Villa. Und ein umgeklappter Teppich. Ja, rein damit in die Olga. Klipp. Wir haben jetzt 7:07 Uhr.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
Mhm. Ja, richtig gut. Ja,
Now it
danke,
was
dass
time
ich
to
lesen
find
durfte,
out what my
Spiel.
mom had been afraid of.
Ja, kann ich dir sagen. Das Haus ist riesig.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. But I had no idea what was behind that door.
Ja gut, dass du keine Ahnung hast, ist ja wohl logisch, ne?
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Tja, um ehrlich zu
I
sein,
grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole.
wüsste ich das auch gerne, was alles hinführt. Kann ich Lichtschalter bedienen? Nö. Ah ja, Strom ist ja eh aus.
Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Ja gut. Sie war anscheinend eine Tierfanatikerin. Wieso macht das Hamsterding Geräusche, wenn kein Hamster da ist?
Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
Cool. So eine Idee muss man erstmal kommen.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen.
Okay.
It started when Mom sent
Das
me to
ist
bed
krass.
without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Hi. Oh Gott, die Kleine.
Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
Okay. Sie hat nichts zu essen bekommen, das ist aber nicht nett. Oh nein.
I kept eating and eating.
Ja, aber doch nicht. Oh, nein. Du kannst doch nicht einfach hingehen und Zahnpasta essen. Weil du Hunger hast. Ja gut, ich verstehe es, wenn du Hunger hast. Ist nicht so ein geiles Gefühl, das gebe ich zu. Aber deswegen alles zu essen, was nicht bei 3 auf dem Baum ist. Oh Gott, nein. Ich will ihn sehen, aber
I
nicht
thought
essen.
about eating Christopher, but I held
Der Hund
back.
Christopher zu essen. Aber ich konnte mich zurückhalten. Ja, Gott sei Dank.
I ate a lot of things
Oh
that
nein.
night.
Ist das nicht Giftefeu? Bereitet das nicht
Then I heard
Variation?
chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for
Oh
her.
Gott, nein. Passt sie da durch? Oh,
I was
Katze.
a cat.
Da war was.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Kann ich hier einfach wieder reingehen? Oh, das war knapp. Ich hätte ihn fast gehabt. Kann ich hier auch runterfallen? Ich hoffe nicht.
I jumped and I almost got her.
Wo ist er denn?
I could tell she was getting really tired.
Why? Wo muss ich jetzt hin? Ah, hier.
Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up,
Nein, sie stürzt ab.
and suddenly I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits.
Ja, und wo?
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger. A mama rabbit. She was almost too big to carry.
Das sind alles Träume,
I
denke
started
ich mal. Ne?
choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Oh, boom, 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 boom. Kann man an sich alle best. Eigentlich habe ich auch die Aufgabe geschafft, oder bin ich jetzt doof? Ich bin auch runtergeflogen und habe 2 Hasen gefressen.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Ja, sie ist abgeschützt und alles. Danach spürt sich in ihrem Kopf an. Ab. Hier ist nichts zu fressen, anscheinend. Hast du besser? Hier ist nichts zu fressen.
I wanted fat, juicy seals.
Hab ich ihn gekriegt? Die Steuerung ist echt für den Arsch. Ich hab sie.
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good. I grabbed on tight, but I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed. Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere. I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Ach meine Güte. Tschüss.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Krass. Nee, man sieht nicht, wo ich bin.
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I saw something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Die arme Kleine. Wie, was war das für eine
I got
Kameraführung?
closer and closer.
Oh nein. Wo zum Geier muss ich hin? Hier?
All of my stomach started growling.
Oh Gott, die
And
Arme.
suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep.
Krass.
But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to be, and we both know I will be delicious.
Krass.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm
Aber
sure
dass
Edie
ich jetzt
would
Dings nicht
have.
hinbekommen habe, das regt mich gerade ein bisschen auf. Weder das eine noch das andere habe ich hinbekommen. Da ist die Katze. Ist das jetzt sie?
This will be obvious later, but
Ich runter?
my mom never told me any of these stories.
Ja, wahrscheinlich eher weniger.
Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
Ziemlich viele Vögel, wa? Die hier gestorben sind. Hat die Kleine die gefressen?
Museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
Und die Hoffnung, den Fluch hinter sich zu lassen. Sind die verflucht?
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington
Doch
send the
12
house and
Meter
Odin to the bottom of the
vor der
sea.
Küste von Washington standen das Haus und Odin auf den Grund des Meeres.
Odin's daughter Edie, with husbands Sven and
Odins
baby
Tochter
Molly,
Edie mit
step ashore on their new home,
Ehemann
Orcas Island.
Sven und Baby Molly gingen ans Land in ihrer neuen Heimat. Okay.
Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery.
Der im neuen Familienfriedhof zur Ruhe gelegt wird.
His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch
Die
house.
Tochter Ellie träumt bereits von einem neuen Finchhaus. Seit 500 Jahren. Okay, da wiederholt sich alles. Krass.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Der unter dem Finchhaus lebt. Meine Mutter war stinksauer.
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a
lange Zeit nicht
long
als
time.
Edith Jr. gesehen. Also was dann?
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
Sich zu gehen, ein paar Wochen. Dann war sie ein Promi. (1937) Anne Aren Finch.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Okay.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother. The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom.
Okay. Hier geht's nicht weiter, okay.
It was a pretty big trace.
Ah, hier. Ah, zu Fick. Warum da? Ja,
There's
öffne
a
es doch
secret
bitte.
in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look.
Ah.
It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Interesting.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He
Aha.
never put it down.
Das war sein Zimmer? Aber wenn er auch so alt war, wie würde er denn hier immer wieder rein und rausgekommen sein? Ja. Ach, die Oma und der haben sich kein Zimmer geteilt, oder wie? Oh, das muss bestimmt unangenehm gewesen sein.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him.
Aber warte mal. Sam und Calvin. Er ist anscheinend relativ jung verstorben, weil bei 1961 hört die Leiste auf. Nee. Aha. Ich glaube, er hat das nie umgestellt dann, ne? Er ist einfach gealtert und er ist so an seiner Seite ist so geblieben, wie er war. Die schöne Kindheit auf gut Deutsch. Ich wollte noch gar nicht durchgehen. Nein, ich will doch nicht durch. Ich war noch nicht fertig. Chill doch. Soll ich noch ein bisschen umgucken? Ich dachte, das wäre einfach nur so. Ruhig dich spielen.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Ich weiß die Geschichte genauso wenig wie meine Mom. Okay.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Ah ja, das ist der, wo ich den Fuß gebrochen hat. Und dann
My
immer
brother said he'd
höher
die
und
before he
höher.
ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again.
Muss
And
ich
he
das noch
wasn't.
mit den Füßen oder macht er das automatisch?
I think Calvin
Nee, ich muss das
always
machen.
wanted to fly.
Okay.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready!
Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
Ah, ich spiele Calvin jetzt hier.
I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Oh, ist das krass. Man muss sie halt selber in den Tod fühlen anscheinend.
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
or maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind.
Das war ja sein Fuß. Der über der
That's
Boden
what I want to
geschraubt
remember
ist.
about my brother.
Aber warum muss man das tun? Warum? Haben wir gleich brechen wahrscheinlich. Ich habe das so lange nicht mehr gespielt. Ich habe keine Ahnung. Yippie. Ach du Scheiße. Ein Überschlag. Und noch einer. Und noch einer.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Gott. Das muss creepy gewesen sein.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing. After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again. The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies. Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star. I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Will ich das nochmal machen? Ja, eigentlich ja, für den Stream auf jeden Fall.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Jetzt kommt der schrecklichste Part wieder.
Inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it the surprise ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe.
Huh.
I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box.
Ja, dreh doch, mein Freund.
Found the key. She listened for Rick.
Wieso hat das jetzt mittendrin einfach weggedreht?
Silent.
Nein, ich will da nicht runter.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Den Tisch habe ich aber schon mal freigeräumt. Das ist immer
The gang's
etwas.
leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl
Was
Hamill,
zum
who impaled
Geier?
and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Na dann. Erstmal hier Krach machen.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Das Neisenbein.
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter. Walter, are you there?
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And whoever he was, he couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay,
That night, she played her part beautifully. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet. The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of
Doch keine Freunde, wa?
I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick,
Krass.
who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her.
Ja.
Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending. I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Ja, dreh doch. Ich dreh. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Nein, ich kann ihn nicht abräumen. Nochmal.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Was? Tetanusspritze, okay.
I saw
Can't
Edie
get it
sneak
off
down to the
anyone's
basement
blanket.
once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that. I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
To his cursed list. After his curses actually cost Dominic
there's a
Mysterio
pattern
the
in all these
Intercontinental
stories.
title on Raw, Danhausen showed up to SmackDown with new demands, including finding a
I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Nein, ich will hier in die Ecke gucken. Teller. Okay, doch nicht so spannend. Walter.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane.
Good.
Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
Der schluckt dir auch ein ganzen Stücken, wa?
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly.
Entschuldigung.
And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid.
Jeden Tag seine Proteine.
It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting.
Ja, das kann ich zum Beispiel nicht lesen
Well, I still can.
Schreibschrift. Yippie.
I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin.
Hallo?
Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Und da hat ihn den Zug mitgenommen.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
Huh.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me. Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
Hä? Ja, ich will da runter. Ich drück da runter, was ist denn dein Problem? Achso, ich muss nach oben drücken, dafür der dazu nach unten geht. Ah.
But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made.
Da hat einer auf jeden Fall seine Sachen gestanden, dass er so 50.000 Mal hatte.
Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem.
Doch jetzt mache ich mir Sorgen, dass die Geschichte mit.
Maybe we believed so much in a family
Vielleicht
curse.
haben wir so.
We made it real.
Hallo, ich wollte lesen. Aber wie kann hier der... Achso, na da.
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
Jetzt könnte ich doch theoretisch
Maybe
gesehen
it'd be
abhauen.
better if all this just died with me.
The best
But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
Aber ich ehrlich bin, fühle ich mich genauso verloren. Okay.
I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Die Menschen in diesen Geschichten an sie. Ja. This is my story.
When you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible.
Ich werde auch nicht nach unten gucken, wenn ich nach unten gucke. Spiel, hast recht. Da ist die Schaukel von dem Jungen.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it.
Ja, gut, ne?
What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Ja, das ist auch so eine Sache für sich.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Krass, das sind
Sven built
Tiere.
the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Schon krass.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night. Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
Krass, hier liegen auch Leichen.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us.
Boah. Das macht schon leicht Gänsehaut.
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
Hier war die Kleine doch gesprungen.
But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant. I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
Ah, meine Schulter. Ich hab meinem Opa... ich fahr wieder zu langsam, weil ich was anderes gemacht habe.
They were both pretty intense.
So, ich würde sagen, hier machen wir Pause.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the
Dann
camera.
für heute den
I
Stream
guess we're all
hier.
afraid of something.